Imagine this for a moment. A quiet Pennsylvania neighborhood, snow on the ground, normal houses, normal lives. And inside one of those homes, more than 100 human bodies. Not buried, not hidden underground, but stored, collected, and cataloged. Tonight, we're stepping inside one of the most disturbing real life discoveries in recent American history. A case so surreal that prosecutors said it looked like a horror movie come to life. This is the story of the man with 100 bodies in his home. On January 6, 2026, police in Pennsylvania were conducting a surveillance near Mount Moriah Cemetery, a sprawling historic burial ground outside Philadelphia. Mount Moriah isn't just old, it's massive, over 150 years old, with tens of thousands of graves, many neglected, many forgotten. And that's when officers spotted a man near the cemetery acting strangely. They stopped him. Inside his vehicle, police saw something that immediately changed the tone of their encounter. Human bones. Not props, not replicas, not human decorations for Halloween. Real bones. That man's name was Jonathan Christ Gerlach, a 34-year-old from Ephrata, Pennsylvania. And that traffic stop would open the door to something far darker than anyone ever expected. After Gerlach's arrest, investigators obtained a search warrant for his home. And what they found inside is difficult to describe and even harder to forget. Room after room filled with human remains: skulls, femurs, spines, mummified hands, feet. Some remains reduced to clean bone, others still containing tissue. In total, authorities would eventually confirm more than 100 sets of human remains discovered, not only in his home, but also in a separate storage unit. Some bones were stacked on shelves, some were hung on the walls, some were placed in boxes, labeled, and organized. Prosecutors later said the scene resembled something out of a serial killer film, except there was no evidence, at least not yet, that Gerlach had killed anyone, which raises the question: if he didn't kill them, where did they come from? According to investigators, Gerlach wasn't a murderer. He was something else. He was a grave robber. Authorities allege that over a period of months, Gerlach repeatedly broke into mausoleums, burial vaults, and crypts at Mount Moriah Cemetery and other burial sites. He targeted older graves, some dating back more than a century. Caskets were pried open, vaults forced apart, remains removed piece by piece. In some cases, entire skeletons were taken. In others, only specific parts. But why? That's a question investigators are still trying to answer. When questioned, Gerlach reportedly admitted to stealing around 30 sets of remains, but police found more than 3 times that number. Some reports suggest that he had an interest in anatomy, history, or preservation. Others hint at something more disturbing: a fixation, an obsession, or a compulsion. There is currently no public evidence that he sold the remains, no confirmed black market transaction, and no museum connections, no buyers, which means for now the most terrifying possibility remains that he kept them because he wanted to. Prosecutors did not hold back. Jonathan Gerlach now faces hundreds of crime charges. Estimates range from 450 to nearly 600 counts, including the abuse of a corpse, theft, burglary, desecration of burial grounds, receiving stolen property. His bail was set at $1 million, and as of this recording, the investigation is ongoing, with forensic teams working to identify the remains and notify families. Families who believed their loved ones had been resting peacefully for generations, only to learn that their graves were violated. Their remains were stolen, their dead turned into exhibits in a stranger's house. This case leaves us with questions that may never even be fully answered. How long had this been happening? Why did no one notice sooner? And what was he planning to do with them, if anything? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all, how many more cases like this exist that we haven't discovered yet? Because cemeteries are quiet places. They don't scream when disturbed, and they don't call the police. And in forgotten corners of an old burial ground, there are no cameras, there's no witnesses, just the dead. The story isn't just about the bones, it's about the violation of something more sacred. Across cultures, across history, we agree on one thing: the dead deserve peace. And yet, here we are in 2026 in modern America talking about a house filled with human remains, discovered by accident. Not buried, not honored, but collected like trophies. So tonight, when you pass by a cemetery, when you see old gravestones leaning into the earth, remember the story. Because sometimes the dead doesn't stay where we put them. And sometimes the most horrifying monsters aren't hiding in the shadows, they're living quietly next door. This has been The Weird and Unexplained with John. If this story chilled you, make sure to follow, subscribe, and share, because the truth is often stranger and darker than in fiction.